She's with us. That within.
The cool route should be starting soon. Once it's done, I'll be able to access the chamber below Hikaru's throne. And Ether. This must lead to the arena. It's another part of the ruins, turned into a fighting ring. This could be useful.
Aloy. It seems you've had to move mountains to bring the Sky Clan to heel. Literally.
Katalo helped.
Yes. Tekote reprimanded for all the clan to see. You both served well. But now the cool route is at hand. Some have come to compete, others to bear witness. They know Regala will come for me.
I'll do whatever it takes to hold up my end, as long as you remember yours. So what's the plan?
Katalo.
There are only two viable ways to attack the arena. Through the throne room you just passed, and by the trail on the north end. We've set up barricades at both. But if Regala means to assault the cool route with machines, she will have to attack by the trail.
You will join our defenders there. Hold the line, and I'll have my marshals. You will be free of my service and receive your reward. Make whatever preparations you must. Once the cool route begins, you must see it through. You'll find Dekka at the north barricade with the rest of our defenders. Strike true as the 10. I'll see you when this is done.
We'll assist Marshal Katala with guarding the chiefs. Good day. Fine troops in battle. This will be a heavy day.
Skill and courage today.
I can feel it.
Hikaru must think his safety. Will win the honors today.
It's your hand!
Ceremonies like this.
It will take more than courage. It's a ceremony, not entertainment. Show respect. Today will demand a sharpened blade.
Mr. Kote. These thugs, of course.
Oh, come. May your blade. She's champion. What an honor.
Easterner.
Didn't think the Sky Commander himself would be joining us today.
If there's a chance my challengers will be facing Regala, it is only right their commander join in their fate.
Or maybe you need to save face after what happened at the bulwark.
Careful now. Sometimes sharp wits bring out sharp spears.
I'd save my spear for Regala's troops, if I were you.
Walk with strength.
Shamefully rude.
Here I come! Okay. Hikaro's defenders should be at the end of this trench.
But we must hold. And look, we are not alone in this fight. Focus on the machines. Take them down. And Regala's forces become no different from our own.
Yes, Chaplain.
Watch each other's backs. Dismissed. Our soldiers are ready. They will defend the cool route from below. But from above...
Not bad. Where did you get it?
One of our squads ripped it off a fallen machine. The honor is yours. Regala may have her tricks, but you will show her our teeth.
Dana! The cool route is upon us! Our struggle demands new blood! New leaders! Release the quarry! Challengers, approach! All who take down a machine shall be named Marshal. Remember the 10. Strike from the air as they did, and seize your glory.
Hold them back! Defend the cool route! Keep firing, Aloy! Weapons along the side! Use them! The weapons along the side! Use them! Stand firm! That cannon's no good, Idol. Use it!
There can't be all of them.
There. What is that?
I don't know. Hold the defenses! Go! Regala went after Hikaru. If it's hollow, I gotta get to them.
This isn't finished! I'll be back with everything I have! And all who stand with Hekarro will be run red.
At attention. You fought well. Proved yourself against enemies both metal and flesh. I name you all Marshal. Your first order is to secure the arena from any remaining rebels. Go. I failed. I should have finished Regala. But now she'll be back with more machines. Stronger than ever.
I'll do what I can to help.
No, you've done enough. Far more than our bargain called for. When we first met, you spoke of your true mission on which all depends. I wasn't certain if I believed you then. But I believe in you now. So leave me. And get to your task.
What will you do?
Tend to the wounds. What you need is there. Take it. Your deeds today will be remembered like those of the 10.
This is it. Aether's below. What was this place? There. That console. Come on, Aether. Time to go home. Yes. Elizabeth Sobek. Alpha Prime.
Master override activated. Restoring Ether subordinate function to original code.
Got it. Now to get this back to Gaia.
The visions of the grove have changed. The words of the 10 are The visions throughout the grove are different now. And this one, it just appeared. Is this your doing?
Visions have changed.
That's the one that inspired Chief Hekarro.
More testimony of the old ones.
Hear now the words that reunited a people. Following the tragic events of the war, Anne Faraday, the chief architect of the reconciliation effort, addressed a nation in need of hope.
If we look into the future, the lens of the recent past, our fears loom. Wars waged against machines, scarcity of food and water, storms that drive us from our homes. But true courage means facing those fears with conviction instead of cynicism. leading the peacekeeping effort with these brave men and women, these marshals of the new Southwest, has strengthened my conviction that when we are united, we can overcome any threat. Join me. Join us in that conviction as we strive for a nation and a world without want or war.
Reporting for duty, Commander. I'm coming with you.
But Hikaru needs you.
Because of you, he has new marshals. And a rallying cry the clans cannot ignore. So I will stand with you on your mission. Give whatever is left of my life. It is what I choose.
How can I say no to that? Zoe, in the foothills, and guide him the rest of the way.
Will do, Aloy.
Go to the mountains, west of Plainsong. A friend of mine will meet you on the ascent. I'll join you when I can.
A friend of yours? Should be interesting.
May your blade be bright.
All right. I need to get Ether back to Gaia. Seems like capturing it did something to the other holograms, too. Might be worth checking out. First the frost breath, then the snow.
Like this? Oh, you're not waving a hammer around, Aaron. Try a gentler touch.
And my big sausage fingers don't really do gentle, okay?
Bring it back. Trace the line. To your right. Other right.
I just saw it. It's the one Aloy found up north. Gotcha! They call it a concussion beat party or something. Yeah, now that's music.
Aloy! Aaron, you're all better. And you're here.
Well, the world only goes on if you can do your thing. We learn fast enough, we help make that happen. You want all the backup you can get, right?
We still have much training to do, of course. One does not become hunter in a day.
Each seed grows at a pace of its own. Doesn't mean it won't bloom. You should know your Tanakh friend arrived.
Katalo.
I heard their warriors drink people's blood. I want to sleep with one eye open.
I think he's seen enough blood for a lifetime.
I showed him to one of the rooms. He seems to appreciate the privacy.
Looks like you've got things under control. I should get this to Gaia.
Right. We'll keep on training. Catch up as fast as we can.
I'm seeing glyphs in my dreams already.
Well, While you've been off gallivanting around, I've been working with Gaia to find out more about the land gods. So from where I'm standing, you're in need of some training. Come along.
Okay.
So this Hephaestus, he's like, Gaia's own personal blacksmith.
Yeah. A very angry one.
That's like my Uncle Lauren. Man didn't smile a day in his life.
Holograms. Gaia, I thought you... Looks like Arendt and Catalo moved their stuff in. Huh. Looks like someone's rearranged stuff in here.
Aloy, I see you found your room. Your companions thought you would appreciate a private space of your own.
That was thoughtful of them.
Welcome back, Aloy. When you're ready, please merge ether with me. Afterwards, I must discuss an important matter with you.
There we go. More data for the dome. So, what did you want to discuss?
While you were away, I received an unusual transmission on my dedicated Aletheia frequency.
Aletheia. That's one of the sub-functions you couldn't detect before.
Yes. The transmission occurred so slowly that at first it seemed like an accidental blip of data amongst background static. Once I noticed this irregularity, it took some time to collate the complete message.
Coordinates. Where does it lead?
To a mountain to the northwest of this facility. A word of caution, Aloy. It is possible this transmission is genuine. It is also possible it is being broadcast by someone or something else.
You don't think it's actually Aletheia?
I am uncertain.
What's SOS?
It is an old-world code. A distress signal. A desperate plea for help.
All right. I'll go to the coordinates and check out the source of the transmission.
All by yourself? Ha! No way.
I included Erend and Varl in this briefing via their focuses. I concur that you should not investigate this alone.
What if it's a trap?
Of course it could be a trap. But if it really is Aletheia, then it's in trouble, and I need to bring it back. Don't worry. I'll be careful and...
We're coming with you.
Fine. Go grab your things.
We'll wait for you at the west exit, in case you need to upgrade your gear.
to unlock.
Good to know. I'll check it out when I can.
There she is.
You ready to head out?
Let's go.
Look at us. 3 battle-hardened badasses forging into the unknown. This ought to be good. This distress call had to be up a really steep mountain, huh? Well, that takes the keg.
Burrow, see if there's anything over there.
On it.
We'll check out the battlefield. Let's start with that zenith. Obviously more zeniths than we know about.
Can't believe you fought one of them.
Almost didn't make it. Whatever the rebels did, it took down her shield. But why was she here? I can access her last communication file, but I'll use my focus to scan the battlefield too.
What about that crazy weapon the Zenith had?
It looked like she can make it come and go at will. But it's gone now.
Yeah. Well, go do your thing. I'll wait here.
One of the sons of Prometheus. The one's working for Silence. Looks like his focus was sending data on the weapons somewhere else. To wherever Silence is hiding out, probably. My weapon's still hot. I need to know how it worked. But I'll have to check on it once it's cooled off. Looks like the rebels camped here for a while. Are they watching this area?
Knocked rebels, Asaram, Zenith, and a freaky machine. I need a drink.
The Spectre had instructions to assist recovery of the asset. I wonder what this asset is. Alright. I think I have an idea what happened here. I better get back to Erend.
All right, she who sees the unseen. What did you find out?
This was a carefully planned attack. I found camping gear up there. The rebels must have been staking out this place for at least a few days. They were waiting for the Zeniths to show up. All so that they could test that weapon. The Zeniths have a personal shield that makes them invulnerable, but somehow the weapon got rid of it. The Oseram that was operating it was sending data on it somewhere else. It was probably just a prototype.
I've known tinkers that do that. I'd do a little trial run before breaking out the real thing. Well, I guess it's still a work in progress, if it blew up.
She was searching for something she lost. Her drone had instructions to recover something called the asset.
The asset? Is that the sub-function thing that you said could be here? Eleuthia?
I'm not sure. Come on, let's go talk to Varl. That's a long way down.
Something tunneled straight down into the mountain. Looks recent.
Whatever it was, it must have been powerful. That Zenith the rebels killed was looking for something called the asset. I don't know what it is, but my guess is it's somewhere down there.
All right, so we head down.
Erend, stay here and stand watch. That Zenith isn't the only one of its kind. I don't want to be caught by surprise if the others show up. Contact us by focus if you see anything.
Okay. Any trouble shows up, I'll call you.
Let's go. There's some kind of old-world ruin down here.
You said the Zeniths have their own backup of Gaia, right?
Yeah, from the Proving Lab.
So maybe they were after Eleuthia. Found its hiding spot, so it sent the distress signal.
Maybe. Looks like some kind of data center. I might be able to access the facility systems from that console. I've never seen a transmitter like this before. Looks like it's self-destructed. This was a Far Zenith research lab. Looks like a lot of data was beamcast from here recently. From that device nearby.
So, exploring another Far Zenith ruin.
At least this one doesn't seem to have giant killer machines.
Or anything you can blow up. All this stuff. Wonder what they were doing here.
Well, knowing Far Zenith...
Find anything that
probably
might tell us what
discovering
the
amazing
asset
things.
is?
I don't think so. This place is huge. Some kind of storage room, maybe.
Maybe the asset is in here somewhere.
If it is, somehow the Zenith couldn't find it. Let's look around. So, how is Erend taking all of this? Really?
Well, Gaia, the Zeniths, the Focus. It's a lot. But when I caught up to him in the Daunt and said you needed our help, he dropped everything and turned around.
Well, he's loyal. That's for sure. A control console. To access the storage units.
Can it tell us if the asset is in one of them?
Well, let's find out.
$236 containers in storage. Please enter the container number you'd like to retrieve.
236? Wasn't there a number in the distress signal?
You're right. I should check the log.
236 containers in storage. Please enter the container number you'd like to...
Aloy. It's you. Skin's like ice. Must have cut this from her head. But why?
Hello, Elizabeth. Apologies, I don't know what else to call you. My name is Beta. I'm afraid I must be brief. I only have a few minutes before my keepers discover I'm missing, and I still need to remove this implant. I had hoped to find shelter with you, but if you're viewing this, I may be dead. Be careful when you take on Far Zenith. They are ruthless, and they have Eleuthia, Artemis, and Apollo now. But at least they don't have the Gaia kernel to merge them with. You must succeed, or this was all for nothing. Good luck. And goodbye.
So she's
still alive.
We need to get her back to...
Oh shit, they can fly? Aloy! Aloy, can you hear me through this thing?
What's going on, Erend?
2 of those Spectre things just fell out of the sky. One of them is heading down towards you. The other one's waiting up here.
We're coming up. Stay in cover until I get there.
You got it.
Get her to cover in that room. Whatever happens, she stays with us.
I'll protect her.
I should prepare before the Spectre gets here. I can't let it get through to Varl and the clone. Here it comes! Ugly one, aren't you? I should scan that thing. See if it has any weak spots. There.
Are you okay, Aloy?
Yeah, I'm heading up top. Stay down here with the clone for now.
Got it. I'll follow once the coast is clear.
Gotta get back up top and deal with that other Spectre. I just hope Erend stays in cover.
Aloy!
Erend!
Yeah, the Spectre's dug its heels in. It's got me pinned down.
Hang tight. I'm almost there.
Just hurry.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. I gotta get to Erend. Erend, I'm here.
Watch out! That thing's shooting down the center.
Stay put. I'll see what I can do.
The second you need me, I'm there.
Spectre's not budging from that spot. I won't be able to sneak up on it if I stay out of its line of fire. It's got some... I need to sneak up on it. Shield's down! It's on the move!
Got your back, Aloy. And they went boom! Here we go! Aloy, get out of there! It's done. Good. Aloy, she's... Look, I swear I'm not drunk, but right now I'm seeing double.
Long story, but it'll have to wait.
She needs a healer, but we need to get her back to the base immediately.
Right. Yeah. Well, what are we waiting for then?
You two go on ahead. I need to take another look at that weapon. If I can figure out how that thing works, maybe the Zeniths won't be so invincible after all. No. Damn it. Well, it's better than nothing. I need to get the weapon fragment to Gaia to analyze. If we can replicate it, maybe we'll have a way to defeat the Zeniths. I should check on the clone, too. Varl, where's our guest?
We're in the maintenance corridor below the control room.
Okay.
Welcome back. Aloy, I see we have a new guest. So now we know the origin of the transmission.
Yeah. I also recovered this. The weapon it was part of somehow stripped a Zenith of its shield, but it malfunctioned and blew up. If we can recreate the weapon and improve it, maybe we'll gain the upper hand on the Zeniths.
A moment. I will scan it. Complete. By combining the results with data from your focus, I can infer that the weapon was highly advanced, comparable to Zenith technology, but not how it worked.
Did the explosion corrupt the data?
It was only a catalyst. The moment the weapon malfunctioned, it appears a command executed to purge all data within its core. Ostensibly, this was to prevent the weapon's secrets from falling into enemy hands. Whoever designed this weapon knew how to cover their tracks.
Silence.
Based on your data on him, that is my conclusion as well.
And he's not gonna cooperate with us. Well, it was worth a shot. But that's not all. The Zeniths got Aletheia, along with Artemis and Apollo.
That is unfortunate. However, our original plan remains unchanged. The 2 remaining subordinate functions should increase my heuristic processing density enough to absorb Hephaestus.
Right. One problem at a time. Well, I guess I better check on the clone before I head back out there.
Yes. She retreated to the maintenance corridor directly below us. Varl is with her.
Right. Thanks, Gaia.
Anybody seen one of my machine strike pieces around?
Aloy! Glad you made it back okay. She panicked after waking up and stumbled down here. I thought it best to wait for you.
I'll talk to her. Hello? It's Beta, right? My name's Aloy. What's wrong? Is it your injury?
Simulacrum withdrawal syndrome.
I don't understand.
Sudden removal of a neurologically integrated data device. The brain, especially the cerebellum, goes into a kind of sensory freefall. Everything real feels unreal. Distant.
Is there anything that can help?
Do you have a focus to spare? It's primitive, but I can make it work.
Yeah.
Booting up. So, Aloy, I suppose you want information.
About you and the Zeniths? Yeah. Why are they here? What do they want? How did they get you? But let's start at the beginning. I'm guessing they faked the destruction of their ship 1,000 years ago?
That seems consistent with their behavior. They wouldn't want to be followed.
So far, Zenith established a colony world after all.
Yes, for a few hundred years, but it didn't last. Some sort of natural disaster rendered it uninhabitable.
Okay, so the descendants of Far Zenith escaped a dying planet, and now they want to claim Earth for themselves?
Not their descendants.
What?
Not their descendants. It's them. The same ones who left Earth 1,000 years ago. You didn't know?
How can they still be alive? They don't even look... What do they do to themselves?
I believe it's a combination of pharmaceutical, cellular treatments, and technological implants.
And you? Does that mean that you're...
I'm not like them. I was made. On the way to Earth. On the ship. I spent years studying in my training interface, all so that I could serve my function.
Access and control of the terraforming system. But why? What do the Zeniths want with it?
When I discovered the Zero Dawn system had disseminated into its subcomponents, I thought my purpose was to fix it. But I don't think the Zeniths want that at all. I think they want to wipe Earth clean and start over.
So the Zeniths want to exterminate life on Earth. That's what Gaia and I concluded too. But why? Why kill everyone just to take over?
When they took me on missions with them, I saw how they butchered the tribal people we encountered. They didn't seem to care about a rejuvenated Earth, so I concluded that they must want a hard reboot of the system. Then they can redesign it
to be exactly what they want. Mass extinction for their own comfort? Who thinks like that? Well, without their Gaia kernel, they'll have a hard time doing that. The Zeniths needed Elizabeth's gene print to access Zero Dawn facilities. So they made you. Trained you. And you went along with it? They told me I was born to interface with the Zero Dawn system. When we reached Earth, I pieced together what must have happened to Gaia and her subordinate functions. That's when I started to realize I wasn't meant to fix Gaia. That they must have made me so I could do what their remote extinction signal failed to do. Reboot Earth, for their own benefit. So you know about the extinction signal? It was speculation, but the only logical conclusion why Gaia suddenly self-destructed after operating efficiently for centuries. Gaia would have only undertaken such a desperate course of action if it had detected a threat to life on Earth that was more dangerous than ceasing function altogether. I should have realized that she would also order the recreation of Elizabeth Sobek to rebuild her. Yeah, well, surprise. So we're dealing with the same Far Zenith people who once lived on Earth. What else do you know about them? They were some of the most affluent and powerful people on Earth. They controlled almost every major resource, every industry. Gerard commands them. He's the one who decided to set up a base. The others, Eric, Tilda, Verbena, they resent his authority over them, but in the end, they always do what he says. Eric. He's the one I fought back in the Hades Proving Lab. He enjoys hurting people. Yeah, I know. You mentioned the Zeniths set up a base here on Earth. Where is it? Off the coast, I think. Whenever I had to go on missions, I was transported inside of a Spectre drone. I couldn't see anything outside. But I did overhear the Zeniths talking about it once. They were discussing setting up a perimeter energy shield to repel the local fauna. I'm certain they have other security measures. Spectre patrols, machine lures. It must be impregnable. What's inside the base? Launch facilities, so they can shuttle back and forth to their ship in orbit. Plus infrastructure to gather materials and fabricate anything they need. Are there more Zeniths than the ones you met? I'm not sure. I suppose there must be more of them in the base or back on the ship. For all I know, there could be more of them out in space, other survivors of the colony. You said the Zenith's colony in the Sirius system was destroyed. What happened? All I was ever told was that a natural disaster forced them to leave Sirius. I've speculated that it was an extrasolar object or a cataclysmic seismic event. Or maybe even an abnormally violent coronal mass ejection from Sirius A. The Zeniths never told you any details. They said the only thing that mattered was that they survived. First Earth, 1,000 years ago, and then Sirius. Guess they survived old age, too. How? Even if I were to run, I'd never survive on my own in the wilds. But then I saw you. And I thought that maybe you could help me. So when the Zeniths pinpointed Eluthia's location in the biomedical research facility, I saw an opportunity. You said you saw an opportunity to escape when you went to capture Eluthia. What did you do, exactly? Whenever I was taken out on a mission to recover a subordinate function, only one of the Zeniths would go with me. The one the rebels killed, outside the facility. Verbena's dead? How did they bypass her shield? I'm looking into it. But you were talking about your escape? Well, when it was time to use the Zenith's transmitter to send Eluthia back to base, I also sent the encrypted transmission. Then I distracted Verbena long enough to seal myself in the ectogenic chamber, altering the facility's log so it appeared that there were only 236 containers. And the Gaia root kernel?
I told them I could capture Luthia faster if I had it with me, and they believed me.
Well done. You said you were born on the way to Earth. In an artificial womb, I'm guessing?
The Zeniths had an ectogenic chamber aboard the ship. An updated version of the one you found me in. They must have used a stored sample of Elizabeth's DNA.
I doubt Elizabeth would have let them take her DNA. Do you know how they got it?
That wasn't part of the archive I was allowed to access.
You said you spent years studying in a training interface. Was this archive you mentioned part of that?
But only the parts I was permitted to access. Aristotle and Aspasia, the avatars of the archive, would assign me learning modules and evaluate my progress.
Wait, those names. They were designed to be the virtual guides for the Apollo database. Before Ted Faro purged it.
The Zeniths have a copy.
So it still exists. And you got to learn from it.
Only what was deemed pertinent to the mission. If I requested information outside of my parameters, my tutors would deny it.
To have all that knowledge, just out of reach. Must have been frustrating. All right, I think that's enough for now. Do you want to come upstairs, or...?
So how long? You know, your plan. How long before Gaius fabricated a machine army to defeat the Zeniths?
How did you know?
Optimal strategy, so?
Well, I still have to get 2 more subordinate functions before Gaia's powerful enough to absorb Hephaestus.
What? You don't have Hephaestus already?
Gaia's still figuring out how to capture it. It's not confined to a single... To a single location! Of course not!
You didn't even know who the Zeniths really are.
You were supposed to be further along by now!
Coming here was a mistake. They're gonna find me. They're gonna find this place and take me back. This was all for nothing.
They're not going to find us. Gaia's using Minerva to mask our location.
What difference does it make? You're too far behind. We're never going to beat them. Everything. Everyone. They're gonna die.
Hey. Calm down. You're here now, right? So is there anything you can do to help?
I have certain knowledge sets. And given your state of progress, expertise you probably lack. Geoengineering, of course. Computer science, physics, biology, chemistry.
Okay. Well, see if you can do something with that. Talk to Gaia. I'll check on you later.
How'd it go?
Her injury's not that bad, but I think she regrets coming here. Feeling might be mutual.
I'll come back later and talk to her. See if I can learn anything.
So I guess we won't be making use of Cylon's weapon. And now there is another clone of Elizabeth here with us. But I can't let it distract me. I still have 2 more sub-functions to get.
It's a little loud, Aaron.
I know. It makes you want to punch something.
Aloy.
Hey, thought I'd, check in on how you're doing.
You mean after meeting someone who looks exactly like you, but isn't you, down in the basement. Guess this must be even stranger for you than it is for us, huh?
A little.
Varl said she may be able to help us in our mission, though.
Maybe.
There is something I'd like to discuss. It's about the land gods. If you have time, that is.
Did Gaia tell you anything about the Zeniths?
She did. Though it wasn't exactly easy to believe. To think that there are places among the stars where life can bloom as it does here. It is humbling, to say the least. And heartbreaking that such life should be bent on destroying ours.
You said you wanted to talk about the land gods?
I think there's a way to heal them so that they'll once again provide Plainsong with grain. Gaia gave me a set of instructions. She called it reboot code. If we deliver it to the land gods, their derangement will end.
That's great.
Maybe. There are thorns on the path. Unless the code is given by Hephaestus, the land gods will reject it. Gaia showed me a way around this. We need components called control cores from machines made by Hephaestus. Machines similar to the land gods.
You mean Grimhorns? Like the one we fought in the repair bay?
Yes. Gaia helped me locate 2 of them out west.
So, kill the machines, get the control cores, then use them to adapt the reboot code into something the land gods will obey?
If all goes well. But taking down 2 Grimhorns won't be easy.
We'll do it together.
Bless you, Aloy. I'll send you the location of the machines.
So, how does a tribe like the Utaru manage to maintain the peace with warriors like the Tenakth?
By holding them off. When our fields bloomed aplenty, the Tenakth looked upon our lands with envy. But Plainsong's dishes provided sanctuary and high ground to keep invaders at bay. In the end, even the Tenakth saw sense in a truce. The Utaru promised to provide the Tenakth with food from our crops every year. In exchange, the Tenakth would relinquish one of their own, a veteran, to train the Utaru in combat. This custom was abandoned a few years after the derangement. But some veterans still remain in the plains.
I believe I've met them already. I've been meaning to ask, what's the deal with you and the chorus? You didn't seem to be on the best of terms.
That's what happens when you're the one Utaru who insists on publicly defying them. Twice. When the Karja invaded the Utaru plains, they did more than just attack our villages. They burned our fields, took our people as slaves, and murdered those who were too weak to make the trip back to Meridian.
To be sacrificed in the Sun Ring.
I was helping the healers back then, as waves of refugees swarmed into Plainsong. The chorus was divided in how to face the invaders. Some saw sense in raising arms. Others believed the dishes would keep us safe, as they had many times before. And while they bickered, I buried the seeds of the fallen.
You called yourself a grave singer. What does that mean?
To all living things an end must come. It is my task to ease the passage. I try to bring comfort, and sing of the renewal that death sows the way for.
It couldn't have been easy. Seeing your people suffer while the Karja invaded your lands.
I come from a small village near Plainsong. My grandmother used to say there was no seed that wouldn't grow there. I moved to the dishes when I decided to apprentice as a healer. When the Red Raids began, I thought about going back. But the injured kept pouring into Plainsong, day after day. So I kept putting it off. One day, I woke up to hear a Karja raiding party had ransacked my village during the night. I rushed there with the healers to help the survivors, but there weren't any left. The smell of burning flesh haunts me to this day.
I'm sorry, Zoe.
I made it a point to appear before the chorus as soon as we returned, to demand that we take a stand against the invaders. I was denied. So I left to fight on my own.
You mentioned you've been teaching yourself how to read?
Yes. Gaia was kind enough to put together a list of glyphs used by the Old Ones. She helped me decipher some of the data you've collected, and showed me how to use the focus to help the process. It's not easy, but it's been working so far.
That's good to hear. I see you've settled in.
Gaia did say this place was built for us, so we could regain control of our lands with her terraforming system. Nurture them like the land gods do Plainsong's fields. It does strike me as odd that a place of life should have so much metal.
What else have you been up to?
I've been studying Gaia's seedlings, the subfunctions. I wanted to understand why one of them would do what they did to Fa. Imagine my surprise when I looked into this Hephaestus and found out it helped create all machines, our land gods included. In a way, the Utaru owe Hephaestus our whole way of life, as well as our current troubles.
That's why we have to make Gaia whole again. Learn anything interesting lately?
There's been much to read up on now that Ether has been reunited with Gaia. It's hard to imagine that machines like Stormbirds once helped heal the skies. I used to be terrified of them as a child. Thunder still brings chills to my skin. But everything Gaia creates has a purpose, no?
Yeah. And if we can get Hephaestus back, she can get those Stormbirds in line. Sounds like you met my friend Talana.
Yes. The Karja Huntress. I haven't seen armor like hers since the Red Raids. But Varl tells me that she too suffered at the hands of the Mad Sun King.
Yeah. She's one of the good ones. Trust me. You've spoken with Kotallo?
A few words. Tenakth don't have much use for us outsiders. You must have made quite the impression for him to offer his fealty.
So you've been talking to Gaia?
Yes. She was kind enough to take me through some of the history of the Old Ones, including their demise and the heroic actions of her creator, Elizabeth Sobek. I was surprised to see she was you. Past, but reborn? Not that I claim to understand how.
You said you met Beta?
Varl mentioned she was hurt. I thought I'd offer her an extract to soothe the pain.
That was kind of you.
I just hope she doesn't plan on staying burrowed down there like that. She looks like she's barely seen the light of day as it is.
You said you set out to fight the Karja alone?
I did. But it turned out I wasn't the only one. News of my disagreement with the chorus spread through the plains. Before I knew it, I had more than a dozen Utaru warriors ready to follow me into battle. We knew we couldn't take on the Karja armies head-on, but we also knew the lay of the land better than they did. We ambushed smaller raiding parties, sabotaged their supply lines, and hit their encampments at night.
Sounds like you were a force to be reckoned with.
Enough that the Tenakth took notice. When the clans began to push the Karja back east, they let us join their ranks. We chased the enemy all the way to Barren Light.
You said you were at Barren Light when the Tenakth defeated the Karja?
Tenakth marshals climbed the cliffs of the Daunt under cover of night, then attacked from the other side. Before we knew it, the gates were open, and the full force of the clans burst through. What happened next was not something I like to remember. When all the dust and blood settled, I smelled it again. The stench of burnt flesh. Our enemies defeated. What was left of my squad returned to the Utaru Plains. I went back to Plainsong. But even as the harvests passed, it didn't feel like I'd truly returned at all.
Is that when you became a grave singer?
I thought soothing the suffering of others would somehow appease my own. Then you came along and gave me a choice. I could either sing at people's graves or fight for a chance to keep them alive.
I'm glad you chose the latter. I need to get going.
May the land bloom in your steps. Aloy, we've gathered some supplies in that chest. Take what you need.
Looks like someone's made this space their own.
I see you found Varl and Zoe's room, Aloy. I believe they wanted private accommodations.
The old ones like to dance.
Leave me alone.
To go on foot from here. Camping gear. Looks like there's something behind that tarp.
I almost had him. I was so close.
To drowning, maybe. Not to the embers. Morlund, it's over.
Well, not for me, it's not.
Then you're going to die. Alone. Because we're not sticking around to fish out the corpse. We're through.
And so the visionary's fate hung in the balance. Would he choose life, or succumb to deadly delusion?
Hello. So, there's an ancient city under the sand, but it's flooded.
Suddenly, a Nora spear maiden appeared.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're not typical Delvers. That's for sure. What's this?
I call it a diving bubble. This is the Mark 1. The Mark 2 was better, but it got stuck halfway down. Air tube snagged.
You went down in that.
Yeah, I hardly expect a layperson to understand.
Because that's pretty smart.
I'm sorry. May I remind you, you got stuck inside and nearly drowned.
It'd have to be portable, though. Machine kneecap, maybe?
Well, you'd need a filter.
Synthetic membrane would do it. With a hose to a
compressed air capsule. Hammer and tongs.
What is this? What is happening here? What? Get over here. She's a stranger.
You got a name?
Aloy.
Morlund. Not a stranger anymore.
You're a damn fool.
Come on. I got the original schematics over here.
Oh, well, hold on. Just a couple of questions first.
Fair enough. Partner?
Partner?
Don't mind him.
I'd better get after those parts.
There's a fully intact compressed air capsule in the Mark II, but like I said, it's stuck in the shaft.
If you made it back up alive, I should be able to swim down that far.
All right. As for the other parts, Stemmer scouted a herd due south of here that should have what we need.
I'm on it. Interested in salvage. Whatever you find below is yours.
Great. I'll come back when you get the gear. Good hunting.
Got the compressed air capsule. Now, to get all the machine parts.
I thought we were finally going to get away from this place.
Well, good thing that Aloy showed up. We'll see.
The longer their sojourn in the desert, the crustier the shard counter's mood became.
I wonder if it still works.
Probably get a guess list of 50. So we need at least 3 dozen kegs. Brown ale, maybe. No. For him, scrapper sap.
Are you planning a party?
Budgeting for Morlund's funeral. Thanks to you. I was this close. We were gonna move on. Leave all this nonsense behind, and you come along, you spark your wet noodle idea.
It's going to work.
I've heard that before. I'm always willing to engage in some commerce.
I'll leave you alone.
Do us a favor. Leave us all alone.
We'll find a way to get the embers. I know we will.
Optimism! It's great. Right up until the point you stumble into a machine's jaws.
Pessimism. It may save your hide, but it'll never save your spirit.
Once again, the shard counter found he had lost the war of words.
I'll stuff a cog in it, Stemmer.
According to Moreland, the herd should be south of here. An eye in the sky. Must be a Cyclops drone. How to get its data. Steady. Have to jump onto that drone to get it down. Taking you with me! Everything's sticking. Oh, damn it. There we go. That's the day I need. This is where Moreland said the herd would be. They must have moved on. I need to pick up their trail. Better look for tracks. There. Tracks should lead me to the herd. There's the herd. I should have the parts I need. More machines? I better deal with them first. Stuff for the stash. It looks like the herd's caught between those sand spirals. I could use that to my advantage. One synthetic membrane. Better check the other machines. There might have a recap I can use. God. One of them should have a kneecap.
What can I do for you, partner?
I've got everything I need to build the
incredible diving mask.
I think diving mask is enough.
I won't quibble. The workbench is all yours. is a marvel. If it works, you'll let me try it? There's a very special salvage I want down there.
Assuming I don't drown.
So what are you really looking for down there?
It's hard to explain. Something that caused a malfunction in the apparatus that controls the old city. I think it started the flood.
Well, I thought we started the flood. Like we sprung a trap. I don't know how we were detected. But suddenly, the dancing lights around us changed.
Lights? What do you mean?
Images in the air, sparked by the embers, the salvage I'm after.
Tiny hologram projectors?
At first, there were lots of images. Women and coins and foodstuffs. And then, suddenly, they turned nautical. Waves. Fish. There was this flash of red. And the roar of water surging in.
Wait, a flash of red?
A red light. From a spot near the grate on the floor where the water burst through. It was like a beacon.
Or a warning. Thanks. That might help.
I hope it does. And good luck down there.
Okay. Time to see if this thing works. So far, so good. I can actually breathe down here. Diving mask seems to be holding up. I've never been able to swim this deep before. Nautical lights. It must be Poseidon's doing. That looks like a way out. Poseidon's down here, somewhere. Gotta find where it's hiding. Whoa! There's no way I can let that get underwater. I'll have to be careful. This place is massive. All of it is still a dome. The door on the outside. Red light.
Alert. Critical flooding detected. Automatic drainage controls offline. To execute an emergency purge, Manual reset of primary and secondary pump nodes is required. The purge can then be triggered at the pump maintenance station.
If I do this purge and drain all the water, I can fight that big machine on dry ground. Looks like I have to reset a couple of pump nodes first. According to the map, there should be an access point for the first node south of here. More machines down here. I'll have to swim around them. Stick to cover. There's the access point. Should lead me to the pump node. There must be a whole network of these tunnels down here. Water lines for an entire city. I can't reach the edge from here. Maybe there's something I can climb to get out. One node down. Better swim back up and find the access point for the second node. According to the map, the second node should be on the other side of the dome. Another access point. Should get me to the second one.
won't budge. Maybe that debris is weighing it down. Let's see if that helped. I've taken care of both nodes. Now I just need to activate the emergency purge at the maintenance station. According to the map, the maintenance stations should be at the south end of the dome. Looks like part of this building collapsed. There might be a way in. Positive green shine. I think I'm in the maintenance station now. I just gotta find a console to activate the emergency purge. Should be a console in here. There. Time to dry this place out. That did it! Okay. Now I can deal with that machine guarding the door on the other end of the dome. And once I get past it, I can get to what's waiting on the other side of the door. Poseidon. Purge didn't get rid of all of the water. Left these machines behind. Let's sneak by them. This one first. Poseidon is through there. But where did that machine go?
Aloy! It's a miracle!
Was this you? Did you lower the waters?
Yeah, but there's a new problem. That thing's in our way.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult to get the embers with that around.
As the scrappy band of adventurers beheld the beast, they knew what they had to do.
What? Are you crazy? Hush now. She saved our Delph.
Okay then. Stay up here and start firing when I engage.
Get to that overhang.
What are you supposed to do?
Come on, gentlemen, get a move on!
Hot as an Oseram forge, as Erend would say. You guys all right?
More than all right. We did it! All the embers we could ever want, and it's all thanks to you.
Very, heartwarming. But maybe we can just, you know, grab what we came here for and get out before any more of those things decide to show up.
Now, Shard Counter. Nothing wrong with a little reveling. Though we should probably let our flame-haired friend get going. I believe she has business down here, does she not?
Right, of course. You need any help?
I can handle it from here.
Very well. We'll start taking some of the embers upstairs. Holler if you need us.
Thanks. Poseidon should be somewhere beyond this door. Time to bring it home. Okay. Poseidon should be hiding in some kind of processor. I need to find a console to gain access to it. There. I should be able to use that console. I'm here to bring you home, Poseidon. To Gaia. Elizabeth Sobek. Alpha Prime.
Master override activated. Restoring Poseidon's subordinate function to original code.
Gotta bring this back to Gaia.
System reboot initiated.
Looks like taking Poseidon triggered a restart of the city's power system. Moreland and crew must have headed back up top. With all the embers they could carry, I bet. Looks like that elevator I found earlier. Maybe I can catch a ride instead of climbing back up. Looks like that elevator I found earlier. Maybe I can catch a ride instead of climbing back up.
Whatever she did, it must have powered up the whole... Oh, show my old Gramps always wanted. There's another.
His dream realized. His old Gramps' legacy ensured. Our hero beheld the sea of desert lights and wept at his good fortune.
When I saw the Embers as a child, I never dreamed they could be like this. Thank you, Aloy. Well, did you find what you were looking for?
I did. And now I have to move on.
Oh. Oh. Come back when you can. I got big plans for this place.
I thought you wanted to put on shows with the Embers back in the Claim.
Oh, no. This is the show. Oh, can you imagine? Folks from all over the land coming to take it all in. Plus, some food and a nice place to stay.
Not to mention a variety of entertainment venues.
Don't forget, games of chance. Plenty of shards to be had there for certain.
A new dream, huh? I hope you make it happen. Goodbye, gentlemen.
This delve is a story for the ages. All thanks to you.
If Moreland and crew's gonna stay, maybe I should come back and check on them later. For now, I need to get Poseidon back to Gaia. But I might want to find that Oseram camp first. See if Talana made it. And with my new diving mask, I should be able to swim as deep as I want to. Once I find a place with more water.